Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Makers of Minnesota podcast, where we talk to cool people doing cool things. And of course, we are in the time of coronavirus. I think we've been in it now for about 8 weeks. And I am delighted to have with me a friend, Erik Eastman, who's my guest today. He's the director of sales of Minnesota Ice. And talk about having to kind of reinvent their business on the fly. Erik, welcome to the program.
Hey, Stephanie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm super glad to talk to you because from the beginning of this, can you talk to me about the day that you heard that restaurants and bars were being closed by the governor and what that would mean to your business as director of sales for Minnesota Ice?
Holy cow. I don't know if I can. I think I might have blocked that from my memory. Yeah, that was a tough day. I think what I remember about that day is just, the thinking about all the people that was going to affect and the people that I knew and that were good friends of mine and what that would mean for their business. I really wasn't thinking about, Minnesota Ice and what it meant for us. That was just like, hoping that my friends and the places of business that I'd love to frequent, if they could survive that. I mean, it was just all just so new and so bizarre. But yeah, it's turned into a couple of months of stress and of uncertainty, but it's also kind of generated some creativity. It's been interesting and fun to watch that too.
Yeah. So let's talk about Minnesota Ice just generally. So before the coronavirus, what did you guys do and what was the sweet spot for your business?
Sure. So as you might guess, we make ice and we deliver ice. We kind of the three main components of our business are restaurants. Number one, we service restaurants with cocktail cubes that are sculpture grade, crystal clear, slow melting, very dense, very beautiful. We have about 200 restaurant partners in that endeavor. And then we also use that same ice to make ice sculptures for weddings, for special events, for the Super Bowl, for
so cool.
All kinds of things. Yep. And then the third component is, what you might refer to as gas station ice, just what in the industry is called packaged ice. So it's made in large quantities and sold in small and large bags. And you find it at gas stations, at supermarkets. And so we have a bunch of customers in that arena as well.
So you came from the technology side of business. So how did you go from being a techie guy to an iceman?
I don't know. Why do you ask? It seems supernatural to me, doesn't it?
Not exactly.
So a bunch of years ago, I started a company with my buddy Dan Oskey, and we sold a make your own bitters kit. And that was his kind of brainchild that we kind of developed on a bar napkin at the strip club Meat and Fish. And once that company launched, I've always been very someone that's very into the pleasures of the table, food and drink, and cooking at home. And I kind of realized that I didn't. This was in 2013, I think. I kind of realized that I didn't make cocktails a lot. I would actually shake a martini every now and then, but I didn't really make cocktails. And as I kind of started to get into making cocktails and taking it pretty seriously, I started to make my own ice, my own clear ice, which is made. The way you make clear ice is not any kind of magic with the water. It's how you freeze it.
Okay.
And so I was directionally freezing water in my freezer or on my apartment's rooftop in the winter. And I, just kind of stumbled onto Minnesota Ice, and that was just prior to Super Bowl. And I reached out, and we had some discussions with our owner, Robbie Harrow, and I joined the company.
Okay, so in technology, did you use the same skill sets? Were you in sales?
No, I was just a grunt kind of programmer.
Mm-hmm.
I just wrote code, and I didn't have, looking back on that, that was a great job for me to transition out of college and into the workforce. And it enabled me to kind of figure out what it is that I really like. And what I really like is, people and providing solutions and then conversations and discussing things over cocktails, over dinner.
Yeah.
And so that, I kind of wore out my welcome at the tech job. I was there, but my heart wasn't in it at the end. Right.
It's interesting to think about that, particularly because I have a 21-year-old daughter, and we talk about that, she's potentially kind of going to be a late bloomer because she loves words, she loves English, but there aren't a lot of jobs out there for graduating English majors unless you want to be a teacher. So I love the idea that you kind of came to a passion about something that you wanted to do and made that your business life too. So from all accounts, business was going great. Things are really progressing. The Super Bowl happens. You had amazing ice sculptures all over town.
Yeah.
And then coronavirus happens and you realize, wow, ice isn't going to be something people are going to need when they're not open. And what did you do? What was your next thought about, you have these friends that are in this business? I'm sure you were like the rest of us, wallowing around for a couple of days, just like, holy crap, what has just happened?
Yep.
And then how did you pivot?
Well, I guess it started, with coffee. I remember I woke up one morning and I was out of coffee, like literally just out, and which is essential, right? And I kind of thought, dang, I wish someone would just bring me coffee, and not Amazon. I wish like someone locally would just bring me coffee. And I was like, wait a minute, like we bring things to people. So I reached out to my friend Jason Westplate at Big Watt Coffee, and I said, hey, can we sell your beans and maybe your cold press? And he said, sure. And I think we had coffee at the office either later that day or the next day, because Jason's a great guy. And we threw together an e-commerce store, MinnesotaPureClear.com, and then you click Shop the Twin Cities. And we had, at the time, that was it. I mean, that was all we had on the website. It was our ice, it was Big Watt cold press and 5-watt coffee beans, and some bundles with each of them, and that was it. And we sold some, and it was mostly me driving it around. So if you ordered it, it was very likely me that showed up at your door with it. And from there, I just kind of started reaching out to more people. I talked to Same over at Milk Jam, and we're still selling Milk Jam on the website, which is extremely popular. Mr. Niver over at Moochie's. We've got Moochie's frozen pizza on the website. So we just kind of kept building on Bakersfield flour. Everyone in the world is making sourdough or cookies or whatever and wanted flour. And we could barely keep Bakersfield flour in stock for a little while. It would sell so fast. Bitter Q Bitters, of course. Mr. Kosovich has been a great partner with us in this endeavor. And it's just kind of, grown pretty organically from there. And we're doing the two most things I'm most excited about on the website currently are the Grand Cafe meal kits.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about them.
Yeah, they're just, if you've been to Grand Cafe, which I bet you have,
yes,
they really make you feel a certain way while you're there. And I mean that in a great way. They really take very special care of you. There are so many details that they've perfected that like you as the guest may have not even thought of, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. The hospitality.
Yeah. And the meal kits are an extension of that, and no exception. They're designed to be 12 meals for 2 people. And so they basically, feed a family of 2 for most of the week. And they're just really exceptional with the thought that goes into it and the execution of the details of the food that's in there. And there's flowers and there's all kinds of other ancillaries. And so those have been extremely popular, as has John Whiffley's Animales Barbecue. We just started with him last week. And we've got this week on the website, we have Animales Barbecue Hot Dish, which has all kinds of barbecue in it. And some, the top is biscuits, and it's
yum.
Yeah. And of course we've got his ribs too. His ribs are just absolutely They're the best ribs I've ever had. I remember during Super Bowl, he had his smoker out on DuPont outside of Zoe Francois' house, and I think it was like 5 below zero, and he's out there smoking ribs, and I just thought, like, gosh, John, man, what is going on here? How can you do this? And it was all practice for this, and he's just really dialed in his barbecue recipe, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah, his barbecue is, I just think, like the best in town, personally.
I agree.
It's just fantastic. And if you ever get the opportunity to have the McJonimal, which is his version of the Big Mac from McDonald's, it is spot on, but like with high quality meat and high quality ingredients. It was one of the best things I've ever put in my face. I loved it so much.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing too, is the opportunity and the focus on, local things. We're really happy to focus on that on the website. And John does that at Animales too. And that's really important to us as well.
I guess I'm kind of happy and a little surprised that local has taken such a forefront position in people's shopping, in people's daily lives. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am, because when you think about the way we shopped before this, people were consuming things based on price, not necessarily, it was price and convenience, not necessarily.
Convenience was the huge thing, right?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I know that I was the huge Amazon Prime Now consumer. And I have not bought one thing on Amazon Prime since it started. And it's just, and most of that's because, I just want to, at every turn, support someone that is a member of my community. And, if that means going to the co-op, if that means, getting takeout from a restaurant, that's really where I want to spend my money these days.
Do you see this delivery service being something that is sustainable in the long term? Like, do you plan to add to it and keep going?
Ours?
Yes.
In particular?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have any reason to think it's not. It's just everything is, I hate to speak in certain terms, but there's no reason to think that we're not going to continue to do this for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
And will you take on other makers if they have an interest in reaching out to you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If it makes sense, absolutely.
Are there are there things that you would like that you don't have currently?
Oh, good question. I'm not sure is the short answer to that. Yeah. Well, let me say, I'm sure there are, because it's not like we have a huge inventory of products, but yeah, the thing that is helpful for us is if the product can be frozen. We've got oodles of freezer space. Or if the product is shelf stable, meaning it can just kind of sit out at room temperature. We do have a very large refrigerator too, but I'm trying not to overwhelm our team with new products. But yes, we definitely are interested in new products. We definitely have capacity to add new products. So yeah, that's kind of a roundabout answer, but
no, it's good. And I was thinking about specifically, like, I know Nordic Waffles has pivoted and they've produced a frozen waffle that's packaged and being sold at Lunds and Byerly's. And I thought this might be a good fit for you, especially we're getting close to the state fair announcements. And this will probably air after that announcement has been made. But, a lot of folks were just upended in terms of how business is moving forward and how fast it's changing. Restaurants are starting to get open in a very limited way. Do you anticipate, how is that going to change for ICE? And, you're probably not going to be sitting at bar and having that old fashioned in the same way that you might have. Yep. Do you think?
Let's see. So no, I don't think you're going to be sitting at a bar anytime in the very near future. But I have already gotten inquiries from restaurants looking to resume purchasing our ice, which I'm very grateful for. So, I do think that faucet will get turned back on slowly. It is tricky to know what to expect with this outdoor only 50-person maximum reservations only. It's kind of I don't know. I don't want to be. It's limiting.
Very.
So I do think. A lot of restaurants are doing cocktail kits, and they've by now they've burnt through their ice inventory from us that they had. So some of them are reordering.
Mm-hmm.
and that's great. Once restaurants open a little further, once, we can actually go into restaurants, I think ordering will pick up a little bit. But yeah, it's not, we're not going to return to the volume that we were at anytime in the very near future, I don't think.
Can you hang on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
We're hustling, and we've closed a bunch of new packaged ice accounts, which is extremely important. And retail is up, and the e-commerce store, if we continue to see that support, I think we'll make it to the other side.
One thing that I would love to see from you personally, you taught me, and you're good at making shrubs and drink syrups. And I'm kind of curious that you haven't put together any cocktail kits for yourself for the site.
Wow, interesting that you say that. I had a call yesterday about that. So yeah, we've got a couple in the works that are hopefully going to be imminent on the website. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, because I think you are uniquely talented in that area. Do you want to preview what might we see something like?
It's probably going to be a pretty simple thing because the focus will be on doing something that's executable at home. So I think, look for old fashioned type things.
Yep. Are people still going to drink old fashions in the summer?
Oh yeah. I don't think there's a season on that cocktail. At least there isn't in my apartment, yes, I think is the short answer.
It seems seasonal to me, but just because I'm not a huge whiskey drinker. So when I think of those drinks, I kind of think of like cozy wintertime, intimate bar settings. Is there like a way or a different treatment to an old fashioned that would make it more spring or summer like?
Sure. I mean, just change the spirit and the sugar, right? Because an old fashioned is a spirit of sugar and bitters, right? One take on an old fashioned that is extremely popular, it's kind of even gotten its own name, is the Oaxacan old fashioned. And that's, an agave spirit and, a different sugar and bitter. So it's
yum.
Yeah, exactly. It feels different, even though it's kind of those same, it's the same style of cocktail, but it obviously drinks very different because it's, agave and not whiskey.
Does it taste? Yeah, because it would taste, I would think, smokier maybe.
Sure. It just depends on the tequila and or mezcal that you use.
Sure.
Another drink that's great is that, you can make an old fashioned with gin too. It's, it kind of, you're getting a little far afield from referring to it as an old fashioned in my opinion. But like I created a cocktail last summer that was a gin old fashioned with, cucumber in it. And the heck else did I put in that thing? Yeah. Gin and cucumber, right? Just it was super light, super bright, very refreshing. There's a little vinegar in it, just really to brighten it up. So yeah, I mean, I would, old fashions are fun to experiment with because there's, again, it's a really understandable template, and just varying the spirits and the sugar you can really achieve some fun results with.
Yeah, I love that idea. What do you think just overall, like your competition right now in pantry goods, we'll call them, or locally made pantry goods, is the restaurants themselves who have started creating more pantry items that are available when people order pickup of food. That seems really helpful for consumers. I like it because I can add, toilet paper and a couple of things to my to-go order and pick it all up at once. Is that something you think will continue as the restaurants get open, or will we see less of that and maybe it'll move more of your direction?
First of all, I guess I would say I don't see them as my competition. I want them to, do whatever it is that they need to do. And I personally support them too. Like I buy pantry items from the Bungalow Club, dang near once a week.
Yep.
So yes, I think that they'll continue to do that. It's again, everything is just changing so rapidly. But it feels like we're not going to be back to any kind of, return to what we were at before anytime soon. So I would expect, those pantry style things from restaurants to continue for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And it almost seems like as they get into the kitchens again, we're going to see things like, I think we'll see things like, more noodle kits and stocks and things that require a little more preparation from chefs that you can't just pick up, at your neighborhood grocery store necessarily.
Totally.
or
I
like
couldn't agree more.
a charcuterie tray that's in a box, that you can assemble at home. And I'm really looking forward to convenience moving in that direction where, we're going to assemble things more, but still have that help if you're not a lot of people just aren't good at cooking or it's just not their jam, right? So
Right.
if I miss the convenience that a restaurant offered, I missed the convenience of just stopping into somewhere and picking something up because I didn't feel like cooking. It's everything is so planned out. You know what I mean? Like I have a birthday coming up and like the cake and the thing, and we got to make 10 stops to get all the stuff. I do like the idea of what you're providing where I can just call and get all these great goods delivered to my house. It's so convenient.
Yeah, exactly. And I do quite a few of the deliveries myself. And it's like when I bring someone, 2 bags of ice and 2 racks of ribs and some slushies and a couple frozen pizzas and some coffee and some flour, I'm like, wow, that's like, there you go. You're set for, several days here. It's fun to see what folks are ordering. And, we are offering products that are, I would say, fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's not like we're offering paper clips. It's really awesome lasagna. It's the best hot sauce on the planet. It's the best ginger beer on the planet. It's ice cream. It's coffee. It's cocktail syrups. It's slushies. I mean, these are things that bring people joy. So it's fun to offer those and to actually bring those to people's homes. And now, one other thing is now that we're moving around a little more, we have added a in-store pickup option to our website. You can actually come to our shop in St. Paul and pick up your order.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
I like that. I think this is going to be kind of the new surprise and delight, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Everything that comes to your house and you have like 3 fun things that you can execute that week that you look forward to. We've been walktailing a lot, which is obviously making your cocktail and taking it on your socially distanced appropriate walk in the evening.
Yep.
But it's been really nice. And I look forward to like what we're going to make for our walktail.
Fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. We've had a good time. And that's the way I've seen some friends. I'm not really comfortable going in people's houses yet. I'm probably not going to be the first person in the restaurant setting. So we are walking and talking and, doing our socially distanced thing. And that's kind of been our happy hours. But I love the idea of ordering something and kind of surprising everybody with a new idea or a new cocktail or walktail, as it were.
Totally. Yeah. And I would say, of the orders that we get, quite a few, not half, but I would say, maybe even 25% are gifts.
I love it.
Someone sending someone, a little care package. So it's a significant, amount that are folks ordering for someone else.
I like it. Well, Erik, it's been great to talk to you. I'm glad that you are pivoting, and I hate that word, but it comes up so often in, people's...
It is. I'm ready to pivot back, but once
yes,
once we can.
But necessity is the mother of invention, right?
You got it.
We are looking forward to releasing this podcast. It'll probably be after Memorial Day, but I imagine people will connect with you about potentially carrying their products. And thanks for what you're doing too. This Makers of Minnesota podcast, I'm in 3 years of it. And just when I think like, oh, maybe I've told the stories and maybe there's, it's kind of getting just not as exciting or interesting, I come across some new innovator or some new way of doing things, or everyone is doing something new that has just brought it all alive again in my heart and in telling the stories and helping people bring their businesses to the next level. It's been really fun. So thank you for talking with me about all these great makers. I appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you for having me, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Erik. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.